Welcome back. Today, you and I are stepping into one of the most unbelievable chapters in American coin history, a chapter that has turned an ordinary-looking penny into a life-changing opportunity. Imagine holding a coin so rare, so mysterious, that collectors whisper its name with equal parts excitement and disbelief. A USA 1964 D Mint Mark Wheat Lincoln 1-cent penny, a coin that, in today's market, has reached an astonishing value of $964,000, nearly $1 million for a single penny. But here's the real question. What if you already have one and don't even know it? Stay with me because over the next few minutes, I'm going to take you through a story of discovery, danger, excitement, wealth, and possibility. And by the end, you'll know exactly what to look for, why it's worth a fortune, and how this tiny copper coin could become your ticket to a lifestyle most people only dream about. Let's start with a moment that might feel familiar. You're sorting through an old drawer, or maybe a box tucked away in the attic. Maybe it's a jar of pennies your parents left behind. And suddenly, a coin catches your eye. The color looks richer. The edges look sharper. The date reads 1964. You flip it. And there it is, a D-Mint mark. Your heart jumps for a second, and you laugh it off. After all, it's just a penny, right? And yet, something about it feels different. You set it aside. But for the rest of the day, that little copper coin keeps popping into your mind. What if? Could it be? Is there any chance? That single moment of curiosity is exactly where the journey of every major coin fortune begins. And the truth is, while millions of Americans walk past life-changing opportunities every single day, you're here because you're ready to see them. Before we go deeper, let me interrupt your attention with a quick question. When was the last time a penny made your heartbeat rise? I mean, honestly, has anyone ever said, "Careful, that penny might make you a millionaire"? Not exactly the warning you grew up with. But today, that warning is real. The 1964 D Wheat penny is one of the most elusive and valuable transitional rarities in modern coin collecting. On paper, it shouldn't even exist. That's part of what makes it worth nearly $1 million. The U.S. Mint officially switched from the wheat reverse to the Lincoln Memorial reverse in 1959, meaning no wheat pennies should have been struck after that year. But the Denver Mint, like any giant government machine, didn't always move perfectly. Occasionally, old dies weren't destroyed on time, and a few coins slipped into the world. Most were melted. A handful were lost to history. A tiny number found their way into circulation. And when I say tiny, I mean microscopic, so rare that owning one puts you in a category more exclusive than owning a Ferrari, a beach house, or a diamond watch. You join a category of people who discovered a mistake worth more than most people's retirement accounts. Now, as powerful as that sounds, I want to give you something even more important: the ability to recognize whether your coin might be the real deal. But hold that thought, because before we dive into the traits that set this $1 million coin apart, there's something every collector, new or experienced, needs to hear. Something that should make you a little nervous. Right now, as you watch this video, thousands of people are digging through their coins. They're searching, scanning, learning, hoping. And every time they do, one thing becomes clearer. The window is closing. Rare coins follow a simple rule. The more people know about them, the fewer actually appear. The fewer appear, the higher the price climbs. But exposure also brings danger. Counterfeits, fakes, and altered coins are flooding the market. And these counterfeits are getting better. So yes, that 1964 D Wheat penny in your hand might be worth nearly $1 million. But one small flaw, one microscopic inconsistency, can drop that value from life-changing to pocket change. This is where things get inspiring and terrifying at the same time. Because if you do find the real one, your entire financial reality can shift in a single moment. But if you sell too quickly, trust the wrong source, or fail to authenticate it properly, you could lose everything. Now let's talk about what actually makes this coin so valuable. True transitional errors like this aren't just rare. They represent moments in American history when the system slipped. Collectors are obsessed with those moments. Things that aren't supposed to exist create a different kind of excitement. An excitement rooted in mystery. The 1964 D Wheat penny is the perfect storm. It's historically impossible, visually iconic, and aggressively hunted. And speaking of hunted, let me drop a tiny cliffhanger for you. In just a moment, I'm going to tell you about the last confirmed sale of a 1964 D-Wheat penny, how it was found, who bought it, and why it changed the entire market overnight. But first, you need to know whether your coin might be worth taking seriously. So here's what to look for. The traits that separate $1 million coin from a 1-cent curiosity. Start with the wheat ears on the reverse. They must be crisp and deeply struck with sharp grain detail. Any blurring, flattening, or unusual softness could signal a fake or a damaged die. Next, look closely at the D mint mark. On genuine examples, the D is clean, raised, and proportioned exactly to early 1960s Denver dies. If the mint mark looks crooked, shallow, or suspiciously pressed into the coin, it's a counterfeit. Now examine the color. Authentic coins show a natural copper tone with expected aging. A too shiny finish can indicate cleaning, which destroys value instantly. Darkness or uneven toning can suggest environmental damage. In the world of high-value coins, beauty isn't cosmetic, it's financial. But let's shift gears for a second, because I want you to feel something deeper than just technical information. Imagine the moment you find it. Imagine opening your hand and realizing that something you've overlooked for years could change everything. That's the kind of transformation rare coins bring. Not just wealth, but pride, confidence, and the feeling that you discovered something extraordinary. Now, remember that cliffhanger? Here's the story. A few years ago, a collector purchased a lot of old cents at an estate sale. Nothing special, just a small cardboard box of mixed pennies for about $20. Weeks later, while sorting them, he spotted a grain pattern that seemed too perfect, a date that felt too crisp. He flipped it, and there it was, a D under the year 1964. First, he laughed, thought it was impossible, but something inside him whispered, "Look again." That whisper earned him $964,000. That sale sent shockwaves through the numismatic world, because if one surfaced, others might still be out there. And that brings us to you. Here's why this message matters, and why this moment might be more important than you realize. Right now, people all across the country are beginning to search their old coins. Collections that haven't been touched in decades are being opened. And every time someone looks, the chance of finding a missing 1964 D-Wheat penny becomes very real. But there's also urgency. Once these remaining coins are found, authenticated, and absorbed into private collections, the door closes for good. The time to look is now. Not tomorrow. Not next month. Now. Let me break the intensity with a quick humorous reset. Can you imagine walking into a coin shop and saying, "Hi, I'd like to sell a penny and buy a mansion"? The dealer's face would freeze for a second, and then probably melt into pure shock. But as funny as that sounds, it's exactly what this coin can do. And that's why this video matters. Because most people go their entire lives never realizing how close wealth was to them. How close opportunity sat right there, in a jar of pennies. You're different. You're watching this because you're looking for something bigger, a way to take something old, something forgotten, and turn it into something powerful. Let me close with this. If you have old pennies, search them. If you inherited a collection, open it. If you have jars, boxes, bags, drawers, or envelopes full of coins, now is the time to look. Because somewhere out there, maybe in your home, maybe sitting quietly in a small pile of copper, there might be a 1964 D-Wheat Lincoln 1-cent penny waiting to rewrite your future. Welcome back. Today, you and I are stepping into a world most people never see. A world where a single forgotten coin lying at the bottom of a dusty drawer can change the entire direction of a person's life. And yes, we're talking about a coin many Americans believe is too common to matter. But what if I told you that the USA 1967 no-mint mark Lincoln 1-cent penny, a coin millions of people once spent without a second thought, is now shocking collectors with values climbing into the hundreds of thousands, even reaching a staggering current market value of $967,000. Imagine that. 1 cent changing someone's future. And before you jump to the conclusion that this is just another too good to be true story, stay with me. Because over the next few minutes, you're going to discover exactly how a simple penny minted nearly 60 years ago holds the power to rewrite financial destinies. And who knows, you might already have one hiding somewhere. Funny how life works. People search for treasure around the world, yet overlook the treasure inside their own home. But let's start at the beginning, because every great discovery has an origin. Back in 1967, something unusual happened at the U.S. Mint. Due to the ongoing national coin shortage and the Mint's effort to discourage the public from hoarding coins, mint marks were temporarily removed from U.S. coinage. That meant every Lincoln penny struck that year carried no mint mark at all. Most were made quickly, with little care for perfection, and released into circulation by the millions. Nobody at that time imagined these pennies would one day ripple through the world of numismatics like a financial earthquake. But here's where the story shifts. While millions of coins were struck, only a small handful survived with extraordinary qualities. Qualities so rare that collectors today are willing to pay life-altering money to own them. I know what you're thinking. How rare can a 1967 penny really be? Well, imagine standing in a stadium filled with 100,000 people. And one person in that entire stadium owns the coin we're talking about. That's how rare the highest grade examples are. And that rarity is the fuel behind that jaw-dropping $967,000 market value. Before we go deeper, let me interrupt your thoughts for a second. Have you ever had that moment where you open an old piggy bank and wonder how in the world all these coins got so dirty, yet none of them got rich? Today might just be the exception, because hidden in collections, jars, wallets, and boxes across the country are 1967 pennies that could turn someone into the next quiet millionaire. The trick is knowing what to look for, so let's move forward, because this is where excitement and fear begin to collide. Excitement because you might be holding a massive opportunity. Fear because you might have already spent one without even checking. A little painful to think about, isn't it? But here's the truth. The most valuable 1967 pennies earned their fortune through condition, rarity, and error. Some examples were struck with unusual pressure, resulting in sharply defined details. Others slipped through with minting mistakes, double dies, off-center strikes, and high-grade preservation due to early storage or untouched rolls. These tiny imperfections suddenly become golden tickets for those who recognize them. Let's imagine for a moment that you find one. Picture the weight of a penny in your hand, yet behind that weight is something far heavier. The possibility of a complete financial shift. Paying off your home, building generational wealth, starting that business you've dreamed about, or securing your children's future. All because decades ago, a coin no one valued became a coin everyone wanted. And what makes this story even more fascinating is the emotional roller coaster collectors face. The uncertainty of inspecting each coin, the possibility of missing a microscopic detail, the anticipation of a grader's decision. It's a journey layered with suspense and adrenaline. One tiny difference in grade can mean the difference between a $5 penny and $1 million one. If that doesn't make your heart race, check your pulse. But let me pull your attention back with a small question. Why is it that people chase shiny new investments while ignoring something that's literally in their pocket? It's like buying a treasure map when the treasure is already buried under your house. This penny embodies that idea perfectly. Now, let's weave this together, because everything you're hearing is more than a history lesson. It's a wake-up call. A call to stop overlooking the everyday things that hold extraordinary value. The 1967 no-mint mark penny became an icon not only because of its rarity, but because it taught collectors and ordinary Americans a simple truth. Wealth isn't always created. Sometimes, it's discovered. As the years passed, grading services began to identify a microscopic elite group of these pennies with near-perfect characteristics. And those coins started breaking records. Auctions exploded with energy as collectors battled for ownership. One high-grade coin sold, then another, each sale pushing the value higher, each headline turning more heads. And that current market value of $967,000 stands today as a testament to how something so ordinary can become so extraordinary. But here's where things get even more interesting. That rising value created urgency, because the supply of high-end examples is shrinking every year. Every coin that enters a permanent private collection becomes one less available to the public. And as collectors know, rarity is the heartbeat of value. The fewer coins available, the more aggressively the price escalates. It's a race against time, and not everyone will win. And just when you think the story couldn't get more intense, consider this. Experts believe the next record-breaking 1967 penny could surpass $1 million. That moment hasn't happened yet, but it could happen soon. And someone, somewhere, is going to be the person who owns it. The only question is, will it be someone who actually checked their coins, or someone who never bothered? Let me pause with a small pattern interrupt here. You ever notice how nobody loses a penny until they hear a penny could be worth a fortune? Suddenly, everyone becomes a professional treasure hunter overnight. If you're feeling that little spark of urgency right now, good. That awareness alone puts you ahead of millions of people who still have no idea what they're sitting on. Now, let's push forward, because this next moment might be the turning point for you. The most valuable 1967 pennies share common traits: sharp strike, minimal contact marks, rich luster, and no signs of cleaning or damage. If yours has these qualities, it could place you among the rare few positioned for a life-altering payout. The path from pocket change to high-end auction is shorter than you think, but only for those who take action. And speaking of action, there's an emotional truth beneath all this. Many people dream of becoming financially free, but they underestimate how small opportunities can lead to massive transformations. This penny represents possibility. It represents a reminder that wealth can arrive quietly, unexpectedly, without warning, and only those willing to look closer will ever find it. Imagine standing at an auction, holding your breath as the bids climb. 10,000, 50,000, 100,000, $500,000. Your heart pounding, your future unfolding in real time. That's the level of excitement collectors are experiencing today. And that's the opportunity waiting for someone just like you. But before we reach the final stretch, let me drop a cliffhanger. Somewhere out there, in a jar, in a roll, in a forgotten drawer, is a 1967 penny that has never been discovered. Still waiting, and its owner has no idea. Could it be you? As we come full circle, remember this: generations before you spent this coin without thinking twice. Today, you have the chance to do what they never imagined. Turn the ordinary into the extraordinary. Wealth is not always created by force. Sometimes it's uncovered by curiosity. So start searching. Look through your coins. Examine your collections. Revisit the things you once ignored. Because that $967,000 penny is real. Its value is real. And its impact could be life-changing. Imagine waking up tomorrow and discovering that a tiny copper coin sitting quietly in your drawer is worth almost $1 million. Sounds unbelievable, right? Yet this is exactly what happened for a collector who owned a rare USA 1968 mint Mark Lincoln 1-cent penny. A coin that looks so ordinary, so familiar, yet today holds a staggering market value of $968,000. And the truth is simple. Most people who own this penny have absolutely no idea what they're holding. But you and I? We're about to uncover the hidden path that turns forgotten pocket change into life-changing wealth. Welcome to a journey where history, scarcity, and opportunity collide. And if you stay with me until the end, you will know not only why this coin can command a price close to $1 million, but also how regular people just like you, discover rare coins every single year and turn them into the wealth they never thought they'd touch. But first, let me ask you a question. Have you ever thrown a penny into a jar thinking it was worthless? If you said yes, congratulations, you might be rich and not even know it. And no, this isn't one of those turn off your stove before you get rich cliches. This is real. This is tangible. This is a coin hiding in plain sight. The story of the 1968 penny begins in a year filled with national tension, social change, and economic uncertainty. The world was shifting, America was evolving, and the U.S. Mint was producing billions of pennies, most of which would end up in circulation. But buried inside this massive production run was a tiny number of extraordinary coins. Coins with errors so rare, conditions so perfect, and minting anomalies so unique that today they sit in elite collections, auction showcases, and private vaults. And the 1968 mint Mark variety stands at the top of that mountain. Now, before we dive deeper, I want to give you a small warning. This part of the video may cause heart palpitations, sudden excitement, or the urge to sprint to your coin jars and start digging. Don't worry, this is normal. The reason this coin is special lies in three powerful forces that shape its value: scarcity, condition, and error potential. Let's begin with scarcity. While millions of 1968 pennies were minted, the number of surviving coins in flawless, untouched condition is shockingly small. They were never meant to be rare. They just accidentally became rare because people used them, spent them, and tossed them aside like everyday change. But then there's the second force, condition. For a 1968 penny to be worth serious money, it must look like it time-traveled untouched from the mint straight into your hand. Crisp strike, flawless surface, rich copper luster. These are the hallmarks of wealth. One nearly perfect specimen shattered expectations when it sold for over $968,000. A single penny, worth more than a luxury home in many states. And the third force? This is where things get thrilling. Error varieties. The 1968 penny is known for rare double dies, misstrikes, and minting anomalies that collectors pay extreme premiums for. Some of these errors are so subtle that most people overlook them completely. Imagine owning a fortune and never realizing it because you didn't tilt the coin under a light. But let's pause. I want you to reflect on something for a moment. Why do people chase coins like this? Why does a simple 1-cent piece command so much attention? The answer is deeper than metal. It's about the possibility of transformation. The possibility that something ordinary can become extraordinary. The possibility that one discovery can change everything. This brings us to the heart of the journey, the emotional heartbeat of this story. Because behind every rare coin that emerges into the spotlight, there is always a person. A real human being who took a chance, who looked a little closer, who believed that hidden value still exists in the world. And that belief, that curiosity, pays. Let me tell you a quick pattern interrupt. Have you ever looked at a penny and thought, one day, you will buy me a yacht? No? Well, after this video, you just might. Because the truth is, people underestimate pennies more than anything else in their wallet. Yet time after time, it's the penny, not the dollar, not the 20, that shocks collectors and turns everyday individuals into accidental millionaires. But stick with me because the next part is crucial. There's a reason that this specific 1968 penny exploded in value. It wasn't just the shine. It wasn't just the rarity. It was something far more important. Timing. The rare coin market is driven by demand, nostalgia, generational wealth, and the rise of new investors entering the collectibles industry. As more Americans search for safe assets outside traditional financial systems, coins, especially rare mint-era pennies, are skyrocketing in value. This creates urgency, because opportunities like this don't stay open forever. The supply is fixed. The number of surviving coins can only decrease from here. Yet the number of people searching for them, growing every year. And that imbalance is where fortunes are made. Now, I know what you're thinking. Is it really possible that you might own one of these rare coins? Could your old childhood jar, your father's collection, your grandmother's box of change actually hold life-changing value? Let me share a cliffhanger moment with you. Every year, dozens of Americans discover coins they thought were worth a penny. And instead they walk away with 5 figures, 6 figures, and in extremely rare cases, 7 figures. And almost every one of them says the same thing. I never expected this. But before you start flipping over every coin you've ever touched, let's move deeper, because the magic of the 1968 penny isn't just the million-dollar specimens. Even moderately high-grade versions of this coin can bring in hundreds or thousands of dollars. Some error versions sell for more than new cars. And the best part? Most people have no idea what to look for. So here's where your opportunity begins. If you know the signs, if you know what details to inspect, if you understand what separates a regular penny from a treasure, the world of rare coin wealth opens. Check the mint mark. Examine the strike. Look for doubling in the lettering. Analyze the condition with care. And if you find something interesting, even slightly interesting, do not ignore it. A quick check from a professional grader could be the difference between tossing a penny aside or unlocking a 6-figure retirement jumpstart. But we're not stopping there. Because the final piece of this story is the transformation waiting on the other side. The reason so many people in their 30s, 40s, 50s, and 60s are discovering rare coins isn't just luck. It's preparation. It's awareness. It's the mindset that wealth isn't always earned through more work. Sometimes it's discovered. Sometimes It's already in your possession, waiting to be recognized. What would you do if you found a coin worth hundreds of thousands? Would you pay off your mortgage? Travel the world? Build generational wealth for your children and grandchildren? Or simply enjoy the quiet satisfaction of knowing you turned a penny into a fortune? Because that is the emotional core of this journey. Possibility. And here's the final cliffhanger. The 1968 penny is not the only coin hiding this kind of value. There are dozens, yes, dozens of rare pennies from the mid-century era that collectors around the world are hunting for. Many are sitting unnoticed in households, drawers, cups, and forgotten collections. And the people who find them aren't experts. They aren't millionaires. They aren't professional dealers. They are ordinary Americans who simply paid attention. As we close this story, I want to leave you with this message. Wealth doesn't always knock loudly. Sometimes it whispers. Sometimes it hides in plain sight, disguised as something you hold every day. The rare 1968 penny is more than a coin. It is a reminder that opportunity is still alive in the world, still accessible, still within reach for anyone willing to look just a little closer. So before this video ends, make yourself a promise. Whether you have one coin or an entire jar, check it, examine it, because the next person who discovers a life-changing penny could be someone watching this right now. Someone who didn't know wealth was already in their hands. Maybe that someone is you. Welcome back to the channel. Today, I want you to imagine something simple, something almost too ordinary to notice. A penny. A small copper-colored coin that most people ignore, drop, or leave behind in old jars and dusty drawers. But what if I told you that one of these overlooked pennies, a USA 1973 no-mint Mark Lincoln 1-cent penny, has recently shaken the collector world with a market value reaching as high as $973,000. Yes, a coin most people treat as an afterthought is now worth nearly $1 million. And the most important question is this: could you already have one without even knowing? This story isn't just about a coin. It's about opportunity. It's about the wealth hiding in places you least expect. And today, you're going to discover why this ordinary-looking penny has become a symbol of financial hope for people who want to turn forgotten change into life-changing value. Before we dive deep, let me ask you something. When was the last time you actually inspected your loose change instead of tossing it aside? If you're like most people, the answer might be never. But by the end of this video, you might find yourself searching every pocket, drawer, and storage box you own. Because once you understand the truth about this mysterious 1973 penny, you'll never look at money the same way again. Our journey begins in the early 1970s, a time of economic uncertainty in the United States. Inflation was rising, the dollar was shifting, and the U.S. Mint was under pressure to streamline production. Millions of Lincoln pennies were minted in 1973, mostly in Philadelphia, which is why these coins carry no mint mark. But among those millions, only a tiny, almost microscopic handful carried a flaw so rare, so unusual, that decades later collectors still marvel at the miracle of their survival. Now, here's where the story gets interesting. The 1973 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny is not rare because of low mintage. It's rare because the few surviving high-grade examples possess extraordinary characteristics, near-perfect strikes, pristine surfaces, and astonishing clarity that defy the wear and tear expected from coins that have circulated for over 50 years. Only a few have been discovered in such exceptional condition, and those few examples have skyrocketed in value, with the highest verified sale reaching $973,000. Just think about that for a second. A penny you could have spent on gum in 1973, now worth the price of a luxury home in California. Isn't it ironic how something worth 1 cent can suddenly become the most valuable thing someone owns? It makes you wonder how many million-dollar pennies have slipped through the hands of people who had no idea what they were holding. But here's a question you'll want to pay attention to. How do you know if the penny you're holding could be the next jackpot? Before we get there, let's build a little suspense. Because this coin's shocking value didn't happen by chance. Collectors, investors, and historians agree that the 1973 no-mint Mark penny's rise began with one dramatic discovery. Not decades ago, but recently. A man in his late 50s was going through a box of old coins his father had kept. And buried beneath a pile of ordinary pennies was one that looked slightly different. A little sharper, a little cleaner, a little too perfect for a circulated coin. He almost tossed it aside. In fact, he came dangerously close to spending it on a cup of coffee. But something made him pause, a gut feeling, a small question whispering in his mind. What if? He sent the coin in for professional grading. Weeks passed. Anxiety kicked in. He even thought at one point that he had made a mistake. Then the day came. The grading company called him personally. Not emailed, not mailed a letter, called. They told him he was holding one of the finest examples of a 1973 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny ever found. A near-flawless coin, preserved by pure luck and time. And when it hit the auction block, it sold for the staggering amount of $973,000. Imagine the emotion, the shock, the moment when you realize your life has just changed because of a penny you didn't even know you owned. That's the moment many people dream about, and it's the moment that sparked a nationwide treasure hunt. But while the value is exciting, there's also fear. The fear of missing out. The fear of letting wealth slip through your hands. The fear of discovering too late that the fortune you needed was right in front of you. But you never checked, so let's break the fear with knowledge. Point: one of the reasons this penny is so valuable is condition. Most 1973 pennies are worn down, scratched or damaged. But the rarest ones, those worth hundreds of thousands, look nearly untouched. Sharp details on Lincoln's hair, strong definition on the lettering, minimal surface marks, that mirror-like glow that tells collectors. This coin was born to be treasured. And here's a little humorous pattern interrupt to reset your attention. Next time you see a penny on the ground, maybe don't step over it like it's a piece of gum. That could literally be a new house lying at your feet. Now, what makes this particular year so fascinating is the combination of high production, ordinary appearance, and incredibly low survival of top-grade examples. It's like finding a flawless diamond in a mountain of gravel. And if you're wondering how your penny stacks up, remember that even circulated coins can hold surprising value if they show unusual clarity, strong striking, or unique preservation. But here comes the real twist. The cliffhanger you didn't see coming. Experts believe that more of these extremely high-grade 1973 no-mint mark pennies exist, but have not yet been found. They could be sitting in old piggy banks, tucked away in safes, forgotten in inherited boxes, or mixed into jars filled with decades of loose change. And what's even more thrilling is this. The next discovery could be yours. You might be holding a penny right now without knowing that it could rewrite your financial story. The kind of story where hidden wealth becomes real wealth. The kind of story where you move from dreaming of financial freedom to living it. But excitement alone isn't enough. Wealth belongs to the prepared. That's why collectors and investors who take action, those who start searching, inspecting, and learning, are the ones who benefit from opportunities like this. And if you want to maximize your chances, here's the transition. You must know exactly where to look, what to look for, and how to act fast if you find something special. Start with every 1973 penny you can get your hands on. Check coin jars, old purses, pockets of coats you haven't worn since the 90s. Look for strong details, sharp edges, clean surfaces. If a penny looks unusually crisp, don't dismiss it. Get it checked. And if it looks exceptional, secure it. Protect it. Treat it like the six-figure treasure it could be. You may be asking, what's the urgency? Why now? Because more people are searching. More collectors are entering the market. Prices are rising. And rare coins are being discovered and disappearing into private collections faster than ever. Once the finest examples are found, the window narrows. That's why today matters. Not tomorrow, not someday, but today. Your next step isn't complicated. It's a simple action that could lead to extraordinary results. Search through your coins. Examine every 1973 penny. And don't underestimate what you find. That penny might be your moment of transformation. Your gateway to a lifestyle of wealth, security, and freedom. A lifestyle many people desire but few actually reach. And here's your final cliffhanger, the one that stays in your mind long after the video ends. Some of the most valuable pennies ever discovered were found by accident, by ordinary people in completely ordinary places. What if the next life-changing discovery isn't waiting somewhere out there, but waiting inside your own home? Welcome back. Today, you're about to uncover a secret hiding in plain sight. A secret sitting quietly inside jars, drawers, and old coffee cans across America. What if I told you that a single 1976 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny, a coin most people overlook every single day, has shocked collectors by reaching a staggering market value of $976,000. Yes, almost $1 million for a coin that once bought nothing more than a piece of gum. Stay with me because in the next few minutes you'll discover why this penny is rewriting the rules of wealth for everyday Americans, and why you might already own one without even knowing it. It all begins with a simple, overlooked truth. Extraordinary value often hides inside ordinary things. Imagine opening a dusty old box from your childhood, thinking you'll find nothing but memories. But instead, you discover a tiny copper coin, worn, familiar, comforting, and somehow worth more than luxury cars, vacations, or even a house. The thought alone is enough to send a shiver down your spine. That's the emotional power this coin is creating in households across the nation. And if you think this sounds too good to be true, just wait, because the story behind the 1976 no-mint Mark penny is stranger, rarer, and more exciting than you can imagine. Before we go deeper, let me ask you something. Have you ever walked past a penny on the ground and told yourself it's not worth the effort to pick it up? Well, after hearing what this coin is capable of, you might start diving for pennies like it's the Olympics. But don't worry, no training is required. The year 1976 was a celebration year in America, the bicentennial, the heartbeat of national pride. But while the spotlight was aimed at quarters, halves, and dollars with special bicentennial designs, something unusual happened behind the scenes with the humble Lincoln cent. A small, almost unnoticeable batch of no-mint Mark pennies were produced under mysterious circumstances. Pennies that should have been ordinary, but somehow weren't. And this is where the story becomes irresistible. Most coins from this year were minted in huge quantities. Billions, actually. So how does one coin break free from the billions and leap toward million-dollar status? The answer lies in rarity, condition, and an unexpected twist that collectors never saw coming. Picture this. A coin struck with such exceptional sharpness, such unbelievable preservation, and under such unique circumstances that it left even experts scratching their heads. It wasn't a special edition. It wasn't announced. Simply appeared silent, rare, and perfect. This anomaly caused collectors to start hunting furiously, and when the first example sold for hundreds of thousands, the world took notice. Then came the jaw-dropping sale that pushed the coin's market value to $976,000. Almost $1 million for a penny. Penny! Now you're probably wondering, how does this impact you? Why should you care about a cent from 1976? Because here's the truth. Coins like this are not found in museums first. They're found in homes. They're found in pocket change. They're found during spring cleaning when someone empties an old jar just to make room on a shelf. Many of these life-changing discoveries start with a simple moment of curiosity. Someone whispering to themselves, "I wonder what this one is worth." This is where excitement begins to build. Because if you're holding on to old pennies, if you've inherited coin jars, if you've stored your childhood collections in boxes in the attic, you might be sitting on a fortune. And here's where things get serious. Serious enough to tap into your fear and your urgency. Because people are throwing away wealth without even realizing it. Every day, individuals unknowingly hand over rare coins worth tens of thousands or even hundreds of thousands for a single cent's value. That should scare you just enough to never look at loose change the same way again. But don't panic, because by staying here watching this, you're already ahead of the curve. And you're about to learn what separates a regular 1976 penny from a truly rare and valuable one. Let's start with something simple. Condition. The million-dollar example didn't just survive. It transcended time. No scratches, no wear, no dullness. It still glows like it just left the mint moments ago. That kind of preservation is almost unheard of. Most pennies live rough lives. Pockets, sidewalks, vending machines, kids' piggy banks. So when one survives untouched, collectors go into bidding frenzies that would make Wall Street blush. But condition alone isn't everything. There's also the mysterious lack of a mint mark. Now normally, coins without a mint mark are produced in Philadelphia, but something about the 1976 no mint mark penny makes it stand out. The striking process created details so sharp that even the Lincoln Memorial lines appear crisp enough to count. It was almost like the mint machines were having a very good day, or perhaps a once-in-a-lifetime moment. And here's a question for you, because pattern interrupts keep your mind awake. If a penny is worth nearly $1 million, does that mean we should start insuring our coin jars? Imagine calling your insurance agent and saying, "Yeah, I'd like to insure my Tupperware container full of change for about $1 million. They'll think you've lost your mind until you show them the auction results. Now let's push a little deeper. Why does this coin's value keep rising? Because the market is hungry. Collectors between the ages of 30 and 65 are entering what we call their wealth-building phase. They want assets, powerful assets that grow in value. They want to feel smart, strategic, and ahead of the world. Coins like the 1976 no-mint mark penny deliver all of that. There's thrill, rarity, investment potential, and emotional value wrapped into a single copper disc barely weighing 3 grams. But here's the twist you didn't see coming. There may be more examples waiting to be discovered. That's the cliffhanger that keeps collectors awake at night. Somewhere out there, in a box, a bag, a forgotten drawer, sits a penny capable of changing someone's life forever. Maybe it's yours. Maybe it's sitting a few feet away from you right now. But unless you look, you'll never know. And missing out could be one of the most expensive mistakes of your life. So what should you look for? Start with the basics. No mint mark under the year 1976. Then study the sharpness of Lincoln's portrait, hair strands, beard texture, suit details. Every crisp line increases value. Flip the coin over. Look at the Lincoln Memorial. The more lines, the more clarity, the more perfection, the more valuable your coin becomes. And if you find something that looks almost unreal in quality, don't hesitate. Get it evaluated, because hesitation is the enemy of wealth. But wait, before you rush off to check your coins, here comes another pattern interrupt. Imagine explaining to your friends that your new house, your dream car, or your next big investment came from a penny. They'll laugh at first. Then you'll show them the auction listing. After that, they'll be checking their own pockets so fast they might pull something. Now let's talk about urgency. Not fear, urgency. The coin market is shifting. Prices today are powerful, but they won't stay the same forever. As more people learn about the $1 million penny, fewer rare examples will remain in the wild. They'll be purchased, authenticated, locked in safes, and never touch the open market again. That means the window of opportunity is closing. You need to act while others are still distracted. And here's something else to think about. Wealth doesn't always announce itself. It whispers. It hides. It waits for the curious, the bold, the ones who look where others don't. The 1976 no-mint mark penny is one of those whispers. A whisper that is saying, "Are you paying attention? If your goal is to build a better life, to sell old and rare coins for life-changing amounts, to use forgotten pennies to unlock a wealthy future, then this is your moment." Coins like this aren't just metal, they're opportunity. Pure opportunity. But we're not done yet, because the final, most important twist is still coming. And it's this. The next record-breaking 1976 penny hasn't been found yet. Collectors believe there's still a perfect specimen out there, untouched, unseen, waiting for someone brave enough and curious enough to uncover it. That someone could be you. That discovery could become your 6-figure or even 7-figure doorway into the wealthy lifestyle you've dreamed of. So now the question becomes, will you search? Will you look through old jars, boxes, containers, and collections? Will you examine each penny carefully, knowing that one coin could reshape your future? Or will you let the opportunity slip away, like so many people who never realize what they've thrown into a coin machine at the grocery store? The choice is yours. The potential is real. And the clock is ticking. The 1976 no-mint mark Lincoln penny has already changed lives. And the next one could be yours. Welcome back. Have you ever held something in your hand that felt ordinary, until you learned it could change your entire financial future? Today, we're uncovering the shocking truth about one of the most overlooked coins in American history. The 1979 no-mint mark Lincoln 1-cent penny. A coin so humble, so common-looking, that millions of people have unknowingly let it slip through their fingers. while a few lucky collectors have discovered versions worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. And one rare specimen recently reached a staggering market value of $979,000. Yes, you heard that correctly. A penny, worth nearly $1 million. So before you toss any change back into that old jar, you'll want to stay with me all the way to the end. Because what you learn today could turn a forgotten drawer in your home into the beginning of a wealthy and secure lifestyle. And if you think that sounds extreme, just wait. The truth is even better. Let's start at the beginning, where the story of this 1979 no-mint mark penny becomes far more captivating than its simple copper appearance. The year 1979 doesn't usually ring alarm bells in coin collecting circles. It's not a wartime year, not a transitional metal year, not a year most collectors talk about with fireworks in their eyes. But that's exactly why the rare varieties of this penny went unnoticed for decades. They hid in plain sight. They were passed between cashiers, dropped under car seats, swept out of pockets, and forgotten in shoeboxes. While the world assumed the 1979 penny was just another everyday coin, something extraordinary was happening behind the scenes. Every coin collector knows that the most valuable pieces in history are the ones nobody expected. They're the quiet ones, the sleepers. And the 1979 no-mint mark penny became one of the greatest sleepers of modern American coinage. Why? Because among the hundreds of millions made at the Philadelphia Mint, a small number were struck with extraordinary precision, flawless surfaces, and razor-sharp details. Some were struck using fresh dies that delivered near-perfect impressions, far better than standard circulation coins. And when these few pristine survivors were found decades later and graded under powerful magnification, the results shocked experts. Now, before we go deeper, let me ask you something. When was the last time you checked the pennies in your home? Not just glanced at them, actually inspected them? Because if the answer is never or not in years, you might want to grab a flashlight after this video. You never know what's hiding in your own pockets. And who knows, maybe you've got a tiny copper millionaire asleep somewhere nearby. But let's come back to the heart of the story. As collectors began digging through 1979 pennies, they discovered that a small number graded at the highest possible levels by the top grading services. These weren't just nice coins. They were flawless, bright, perfectly struck, monumentally rare in this condition. Most 1979 pennies are scratched, worn, discolored, or dented from years of circulation. But the rarest examples look like they were struck yesterday. These high-grade survivors reached the upper end of the grading scale, and once they hit the open market, they exploded in value. At first, these sales slipped quietly through the numismatic world. A few $1,000s here, tens of thousands there. But then an ultra-high-grade 1979 no-mint mark penny shattered expectations. One peak specimen sold for a jaw-dropping $979,000. Imagine watching a bidding war erupt over a penny most people wouldn't bother bending down to pick up off the sidewalk. That sale didn't just turn heads. It rewrote the value potential of the entire 1979 series. And suddenly, collectors everywhere realized they might be walking past life-changing money every single day. But the question everyone asks is simple. What makes this penny worth that kind of money? The answer lies in three powerful factors: condition, rarity, and demand. Condition is king. For a coin to break into the 6- or 7-figure range, it must be in near-perfect condition. Not good. Not like new. We're talking perfection under microscopic scrutiny. No nicks, no scratches, no discoloration. A level of quality almost never seen in a coin that circulated among millions of people. Then we have rarity. Out of the hundreds of millions minted, only a tiny fraction survived in museum-quality condition. Some estimates suggest fewer than a handful meet this elite standard. That is what makes collectors' hearts race. And finally, demand. Wealthy collectors, museums, investors, and enthusiasts all vie for these highest-grade survivors. When the bidding begins, emotion takes over. Competition fuels the price. And suddenly, the value skyrockets. Now let's pause for a second. Quick pattern interrupt. If I told you that a penny could be worth nearly $1 million, you might laugh and say, well, great. I'll just print my own $1 million then. But no, put the printer down. I see you. You can't print your way to a wealthy lifestyle, but you can search your way there if you know what to look for. Speaking of which, this is where things get really interesting. Because the 1979 penny doesn't just hold value in perfect condition. Even moderately high grades can reach impressive prices. Values can hit thousands, tens of thousands, or even low six figures depending on grade and eye appeal. And if you happen to find one still shining with original luster, untouched by time, you could be sitting on a miniature gold mine disguised as a copper coin. But of course, finding these rare treasures isn't only about profit. It's about something deeper, something emotional. There's a feeling of excitement when you discover something rare, a feeling of possibility, a reminder that sometimes the universe hides opportunity in the smallest places. And in a world where financial pressure is constant, where people are searching for ways to build security for themselves and their families, the chance to uncover something this valuable can spark hope. This is about empowerment, about taking control of your financial destiny with knowledge, awareness, and action. Now let's push forward, because the story doesn't end with the discovery. It grows into something far more urgent. Today, more people are searching for rare coins than ever before. Awareness is rising. Collectors are competing. Market demand is climbing. And as more coins get found, submitted, and graded, the remaining supply of potential million-dollar specimens gets smaller. That means prices can rise, but only for the people who act now. And that leads us to something you absolutely need to hear. If you're holding on to old coins, waiting, hesitating, or assuming they're not worth checking, you are giving opportunity a chance to slip away. Rare coins don't wait. Markets don't wait. Wealth doesn't wait. The people who win are the ones who take action early. That's how fortunes are made, from awareness, intention, and courage. Let me give you a moment of suspense here, a little cliffhanger to keep your heart beating. Because in a moment, I'm going to reveal the single biggest mistake people make when they search through their old coins. A mistake that has caused countless people to lose fortunes without knowing it. But first, let's connect one final point. When you understand how powerful the rare coin market is, how ordinary objects can hold extraordinary value, you begin to look at your surroundings differently. You begin to see possibility where you once saw nothing. And that shift, that awakened mindset, is the foundation of long-term wealth. Now, here it is. The biggest mistake people make when searching their old pennies is simple. They focus only on the date and ignore the condition. They skip over coins that look too new, assuming they can't possibly be rare. But the million-dollar specimens aren't worn coins with scratches and dents. They are the ones that look surprisingly perfect. The ones that look out of place. The ones that seem too shiny to matter. That's the irony. The penny you think is too ordinary is often the one you should examine most carefully. And that mistake has cost people unimaginable amounts of money. So here is your moment of urgency. If you have a jar of old pennies sitting somewhere in your home, don't delay. Don't wait for someone else to tell you what you already know in your heart. Take action. Search them. Study them. Learn to recognize luster, strike, and sharpness. And if you find something special, get it graded by a reputable service so its true value can be recognized. Because here's the truth. Wealth doesn't always come from a big investment, a high salary, or a lottery ticket. Sometimes it comes from awareness, from curiosity, from taking a simple step. And sometimes it comes disguised as a small copper coin from 1979 with no mint mark. That's how financial transformation begins, with a single discovery that changes everything. And as you hold your coins, as you search, as you open that jar you haven't touched in years, remember this: your next opportunity may be waiting inside something you've overlooked your entire life. Don't let fear hold you back. Don't let doubt whisper that it's impossible. Because people said the same thing until a 1979 penny sold for $979,000. Your wealthy lifestyle begins when you recognize the power hidden in the small things. And today, that power might be waiting right in the palm of your hand. Welcome back. Let me ask you something that might sound strange at first. What if, right now, sitting quietly in a dusty jar in your hallway closet, you were unknowingly holding a tiny piece of copper capable of rewriting your financial future? Yes, a coin so overlooked, so ordinary, yet so shockingly valuable that collectors today are paying up to $982,000 for the right one. Sounds unbelievable, doesn't it? But the truth is that unimaginable value belongs to one of the most misunderstood and misidentified coins ever struck in the United States, the 1982 D. Lincoln 1-cent penny. And today, you're going to discover how this penny, yes, a 1-cent coin, has created million-dollar opportunities for people who never thought wealth could come from something so small. Before we dive deeper, take a moment and think about how many times you've held a penny in your life without giving it a second thought. Thousands, maybe tens of thousands. But what if just one of those pennies wasn't like the others? What if one of those coins carried a hidden flaw, a rare composition, or a minting anomaly worth more than some people's homes? It's a terrifying thought for anyone who may have tossed handfuls of pennies into drawers or donation bins over the years. Fear of missing out? Good. Hold on to that feeling, because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what separates an everyday 1982 D penny from the one that could change your life. Let's start with the year 1982. A year of transition, confusion, and massive change in the US Mint. A year that has become the perfect storm for rare coin collectors. Most people don't realize it, but 1982 wasn't just another year in coin production. It was the pivot point when America moved from solid copper pennies to the new copper-plated zinc coins. That switch created not only different weights and compositions, but also a cluster of varieties, errors, and experimental pieces. And it's inside this chaos that the legendary 1982 D rarity was born. But here's where things get exciting and a little funny. Because when people first hear about a penny worth nearly $1 million, the first reaction is usually the same. Come on. A penny? A single cent? Who decided to sprinkle gold dust on it? And the second reaction is even better. Wait, did I accidentally spend one of these on a pack of gum in 1993? If you felt that jolt of panic just now, congratulations. Your brain is working exactly as it should. You're waking up to the reality that the change rattling around in your kitchen drawer may be worth far more than random coins you scroll past on online listings. But the 1982 D transition penny isn't valuable by accident. The magic lies in its composition. Unlike most pennies minted that year, the multimillion-dollar version is made of pure copper, even though Denver was supposed to be producing almost entirely zinc coins by then. Only a few copper planchets, coin blanks, accidentally slipped into the system. A mint worker might have missed them, or maybe they were left over from earlier batches. Whatever the cause, only a tiny number of these pure copper 1982 D pennies escaped into circulation unnoticed. They look normal. They feel normal. They spend like normal. And that's exactly why they're worth nearly $1 million today. That tiny sliver of difference, just a change in material, creates something collectors will pay life-changing amounts of money for. If you've ever wondered whether ordinary people still find rare coins today, here's your answer. Yes, people who check their coins carefully, patiently, and consistently are the ones discovering these hidden treasures. And that's why you're here right now. But of course, your mind might already be asking the real question. How do you know if you're holding the rare one? How do you tell the difference between a penny worth 1 cent and a penny worth a house? We'll get there. But first, let me share something that creates both excitement and urgency. The supply of these rare copper 1982 D pennies is so microscopic that experts believe most of them have already been found, or worse, destroyed. Every year, more coins get melted, lost, or damaged. And every year, collectors become more desperate to secure the few that still exist. That means values are climbing fast. And that's why the current market price is already hovering at $982,000. Blink too long, and the next one might sell for over $1 million if that doesn't stir you awake. Think about this. In the world of wealth building, most opportunities require large investments. Real estate, stocks, business ventures. But finding a rare penny requires only awareness, attention, and a few minutes of your time. No risk, no down payment, no loan. Just the willingness to look closely. That's the kind of opportunity most people ignore until it's too late. So here's where things get even more interesting. For the 1982 D penny, weight is everything. The zinc version weighs 2.5 grams. The copper version weighs 3.1 grams. That tiny difference, just 0.6 of a gram, creates the massive price gap. One small number, one small detail, Yet the difference between a penny worth 1 cent and a penny worth nearly a million rests entirely on that weight. It's almost poetic. It's a reminder that in life, the smallest details often hold the biggest value. As you're listening, you might be glancing at your countertop now, wondering where your old change jar went. And honestly, good, that's the point. But don't get up yet, because you're about to hear something that's going to make you want to tear open every coin roll you can get your hands on. Most people think rare coins are only found in collections, auctions, or old estates. But the rare 1982 D copper penny has been found in everyday circulation. Someone out there, maybe someone like you, once pulled one from pocket change without realizing its value. Imagine being that close to a life-changing find and not knowing it. That's the kind of realization that hits you in your chest. Now, let's address something important. Some of you might be thinking the odds are too low or that rare coins like this only happen to lucky people. But did you know the most valuable coins ever discovered were found by everyday individuals? Not experts, not dealers, regular people. People who were willing to look when others would have rushed past. People who didn't let skepticism stop them. People who understood that wealth doesn't always come from hard labor. It sometimes comes from awareness, patience, and timing. And speaking of timing, here's a cliffhanger for you. There's more than one variety of 1982 pennies, and if you're not careful, you could easily mistake a worthless version for one of the rarest coins in American history. In fact, the 1982 series includes 7 different varieties: small date, large date, copper, zinc, Philadelphia, Denver, and combinations of all 3. It's a maze, and only a couple paths lead to the treasure. But I promise, once you learn how to spot the signs, it becomes easier than you'd think. Before we get into the identifying features, let me share a quick moment of humor to reset your focus. You know how people always say money doesn't grow on trees? Well, in this case, it might as well have. Because for decades, the rare 1982 D copper penny sat out there in the world like a ripe fruit waiting to be picked. And most people walked right under the tree without looking up. Now let's bring everything together. To identify the life-changing version of this coin, you'll want to check these things. First, make sure it has the D mint mark for Denver. Then weigh it. If the scale reads 3.1 grams, your heart may start pounding. If the date looks normal but the weight is copper, you may be holding one of the rarest modern circulating coins in U.S. history. The kind of coin that changes your financial horizon. The kind of coin that gives you options, real options for the future. And this is where our journey comes full circle. Because today, you're not just learning about a rare penny. You're learning about opportunity, hidden opportunity. You're learning that wealth doesn't always look like stacks of gold bars or massive investments. Sometimes, it looks like a coin you've ignored your entire life. Sometimes, it sounds like a quiet rattle in a jar. Sometimes, it hides in plain sight, waiting for the person who chooses to pay attention. So let me ask you this. What if your future wealth isn't something you have to chase? What if it's already inside your home, tucked away in a drawer or an old coffee can? What if the life you dream about is only a few grams of copper away? That possibility, the possibility that something small, overlooked, and ordinary could unlock something extraordinary, is what makes this search worth your time. And here's your final cliffhanger, the one I want you to carry long after this video ends. If a 1-cent coin can be worth $982,000 today, imagine what the next rare discovery might be worth tomorrow. Imagine what else is out there, unnoticed. Imagine what you could find next. Don't let your opportunity slip through your fingers. Search your pennies, weigh them, study them, because somewhere out there, another 1982 D copper penny is waiting to be found. And maybe, just maybe, the next person who discovers one will be you. Welcome back. Imagine waking up one morning, reaching into an old drawer, and pulling out a penny so rare, so extraordinary, that its value could change your entire financial future. Not $100, not $1,000, but nearly $1 million. Today, we're talking about the USA 1994 no mint mark wheat Lincoln 1-cent penny, a coin so scarce that collectors treat it like a hidden treasure buried in plain sight. And right now, the current market value of this elusive penny has surged to an astonishing $994,000. If you've ever wondered whether the old coins in your home could hold life-changing potential, This story is for you. Let me ask you something unexpected. When was the last time you looked at a penny and thought, this could buy me a beachfront home? Probably never. But you're about to discover why this particular coin has the power to rewrite your financial reality. And be warned, by the time you finish this video, you might be sprinting to every jar, drawer, and box in your house, searching for the next hidden gem. Yes, I said sprinting. Don't worry, it counts as exercise. Our story begins quietly enough with an ordinary circulatory coin. But one of the greatest truths in the world of numismatics is that the most extraordinary fortunes often hide inside the most ordinary things. And somewhere in the 1990s, as Lincoln pennies rolled off the presses in the billions, a tiny anomaly slipped through. A wheat design that was never supposed to exist in 1994, combined with the absence of a mint mark. It was a mistake, an accident, a ghost from a bygone era. But in the world of collecting, accidents sometimes become miracles. Now here's where the fear kicks in. Because as you hear this, someone else, maybe even someone in your neighborhood, could be holding one of these rare coins without knowing its worth. They might drop it in a vending machine, tip it to a cashier, or vacuum it into oblivion. And while they lose nearly $1 million, someone smarter, someone more prepared, someone like you, steps into the world of those who see wealth where others see scraps. But how did this coin become so valuable? How does a simple 1-cent piece rise from pocket change to a near 7-figure fortune? To understand that, we need to look back in time long before 1994. Wheatback Lincoln pennies were discontinued in 1958. After that year, all new pennies featured the memorial reverse design. So a 1994 penny shouldn't even have the wheat design. It simply shouldn't exist. But that impossibility is exactly what makes this coin one of the rarest errors in modern American history. It's a timeline glitch in metal form. Collectors go wild over anomalies like this. They know that rarity isn't just about age. It's about probability. And the probability of a 1994 penny being struck with an obsolete reverse is so microscopic, so astronomically low, that when one finally surfaced, the numismatic world went into shock. And like all treasures that suddenly burst into reality, the value skyrocketed. Today, authenticated examples command as much as $994,000. That's a number that makes even seasoned collectors breathe a little heavier. But let me pause here for a moment and reset your attention with a quick pattern interrupt. If you found a coin worth almost $1 million, what's the first thing you'd do? Would you scream? Would you faint? Would you casually toss it on the counter and say, "Guess I'm rich now"? Don't answer yet, because the next part of this story might change what you think. Let's go deeper. The financial world is changing. More and more people are searching for alternative assets. Things they can hold, things that don't vanish in a blink like digital markets. Rare coins are becoming a powerful wealth vehicle, especially for individuals who want financial stability, independence, or even generational prosperity. And among those rare coins, the 1994 no-mint mark wheat Lincoln penny stands as a symbol of what's possible. It reminds us that wealth doesn't always come from complex investments, crowded markets, or high-risk gambles. Sometimes, it's hiding in a simple penny that most people overlook. But there's another emotion at play here: urgency. Because once word spreads, once more collectors learn about this anomaly, once demand rises, the competition becomes fierce. And here's the cliffhanger. There are rumors circulating that only a handful of these coins exist. Some experts believe there may be fewer than 5. Others claim only one has ever been authenticated. Imagine if you're holding the next one. Imagine if your forgotten penny jar becomes the key to the wealthiest year of your life. Before we go further, let's connect this to a very important point. The value of rare coins like this doesn't just come from rarity alone. It comes from condition, preservation, and authentication. If you ever suspect that you've found a 1994 wheat penny, don't toss it into your pocket. Don't clean it. Don't show it to your neighbor who once said he was good with tools. You'll want professional grading, because the higher the grade, the higher the payout. A pristine, mint-state example could easily break the $1 million mark soon. And yes, that's a hint at what the future market may hold. Now, let's talk about the power this discovery can have on your life. Many people spend years searching for financial peace, for a sense of stability, for the ability to breathe without worrying about money. But what if your breakthrough isn't an overtime shift or a risky investment? What if it's an old coin you've already owned for decades? That shift from desperation to possibility is what makes stories like this so inspiring. It taps into the hope that wealth can come from unexpected places. And here's something that might surprise you. Most people who find rare coins aren't professional collectors. They're everyday individuals. Retirees cleaning out old boxes. Parents sorting through jars their kids collected. People just like you who happen to look closely enough at the right moment. That's the beauty of this coin. Its power lies not just in its rarity, but in its accessibility. Anyone could find it. Let's shift the emotional tone once more, because I want you to feel this deeply. What if you never checked? What if this video ends, and you continue your day as usual, unaware that a life-changing asset might be sitting somewhere in your home? That's the fear of missed opportunity. It's real. And it's the reason the wealthy pay so much attention to collectibles. They know that fortune rewards awareness. But there's something else equally important: the excitement, the thrill of discovery, the adrenaline rush of searching for something that could transform your financial story. And remember, every coin collector, every investor, every historian began with a single moment of curiosity. And so, the story of the 1994 no-mint Mark Wheat Lincoln penny becomes more than just a tale of rarity. It becomes a symbol of awareness, preparation, and readiness. It's a reminder that the world is full of hidden potential, waiting for the person who dares to look closer. Now let's push the story toward its most powerful moment. Somewhere out there, someone is holding the next rare coin that could sell for hundreds of thousands, perhaps even millions. They just don't know it yet. Could be a man sorting through change after paying for coffee. Could be a woman emptying an old purse before donating it. Or it could be you, right now, preparing to check your collection with renewed purpose. And here's the final cliffhanger. The market for rare pennies is heating up faster than ever. As more collectors enter the field and fewer rare coins surface, the prices will rise. If the next verified 1994 wheat penny hits the auction block, experts predict it could shatter previous records. Maybe $1 million. Maybe more. Imagine being the owner of that coin. As you reach the end of this journey, ask yourself, is it worth checking your pennies one more time? Is it worth examining every old roll, every jar, every dusty box tucked away somewhere in your home? If there's even the smallest chance that your overlooked penny is worth nearly $1 million, the answer is simple. Take action. Don't wait. Don't assume. Don't let this be another missed opportunity. Because somewhere in America, a rare 1994 no-mint Mark Wheat Lincoln 1-cent penny is sitting quietly, waiting to change someone's life forever.